You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. This episode is brought to you by Impact Dynamics. And now, over to your hosts.
Well, hello and welcome to the Precision Shooting Podcast. My name is Rusty. I'm just checking what episode it is. I think it's 131, episode 131. Anyway, we'll just run with that. Joining me tonight, the main gang. Bronte sitting across from me. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very well. And yourself, Rusty?
Good. Just a heads up that Bronte has access to the buttons tonight. So I'm just putting a disclaimer out there. Just in case any buttons go off inappropriately, it was most likely him. he's trying to work out which one to press.
Which one's the most appropriate to do that.
Yeah. Good work, mate. Well done. Over there, Dutchie, how we doing?
Doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. Any news? Any jobs?
No, I haven't been looking. I've filled out my prerequisites for the month and I've just taken the rest of the month off. You know?
Sensational. You've had a holiday?
Yeah.
Good.
It's hard work, man. It's good.
Well, you should get paid for that then.
Yeah.
Sounds like work. Andy, what about you, mate?
Not a whole lot's happening at the moment, but
No, you recovered from your devastating loss at the PRS finale?
yeah, it's been an emotional couple of weeks. Yes, it has been.
Good. I'm glad you're coming up to speed. Excellent. All right. Well, gents, any shooting to talk of in the last couple of weeks? We missed you last time, by the way, Bronte. Missed you last time. Anything to mention?
No, really. I've had a really boring life. A lot of work and not a lot of shooting.
Okay. There you go. It's that's the way.
Yeah, I reckon.
Is there a dunk on that button that you can press for yourself?
It's the red one, isn't it?
Got a buzzer.
Yeah,
That's close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough.
That's a bad answer.
It was a bad answer.
What about this weekend? Anyone going shooting? The club is on this weekend for the final club of the year. Know what I mean? Final match of the year. Yeah. Andy, you shooting?
I'll be heading up there Saturday for half a day.
Okay.
Have a wedding in the afternoon, and Sunday I've got family.
What is with your weddings?
Oh, it's that time of the year.
Yeah.
That age bracket, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Nearly as bad as Trent. Yeah. Okay. Good. Anyone else going up the club? Bronte, you're going to see your smiling face up there this weekend?
Subject to loading some ammo, yes.
Yeah, right. I have a bombshell to announce. I'm going to shoot a centerfire match this weekend.
What? Oh, my God.
Well done, Bronte. Good job. Yeah, my 2D3 is back up and running. So
You better catch it then.
Bronte is on this. He's all over this tonight. Excellent.
I made the joke, you dickhead.
Who even are you?
Unemployed.
Get a job and a haircut.
No, get fucked.
So my 2D3, after I was very, very blown away by receiving a very nice rifle the other week, I did, because I was slowly putting towards, that's Coke.
That's the sound of Coke being poured.
just to clarify.
Classy gentleman.
We got to keep up with the Hunting HQ boys. You're trying to make them blush, remember?
Yeah, but we're not going to keep up with them. I've heard about their podcast.
We, by the way, there could be a little combo project happening next year with the Hunting HQ boys, but we won't say anything further than that. That's all to be decided, all pending currently. Anyway.
Back to your 2D3.
That's the one I was talking about. So I did, because I was putting some stuff away to buy a new rifle, so I went out and bought a new KRG chassis. And so that's to match the Gay Tiger. That's for the 2D3. So that's now on the 2D3. I'm going to throw the Razor onto that gun.
Nice.
And I bought some factory ammo because that's
Because you can.
Because you can. So I'm going to have a crack on the centerfire match this weekend.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So does that mean that you have to actually suffer the pain that you inflict on everybody else because you have to shoot your own course of fire?
Well, I was going to say I am the match director. However, the course of fire has been completely lifted from the finale. with some target size increases and some distance reductions, one of the two, and then also maybe a little bit extra time on a couple of stages. So given that the level of shooter at that match, we're going to have some new people there and all that sort of gear. So we got to accommodate for that. So we'll make it a little bit easier, but we're going to do a few of the stages, the slopes and the pegboard and a few other bits and pieces. So that should be good fun. So as long as my back holds up for this match, I'll be on board. So,
Any other excuses you want to get in
wind,
early?
I'm not used to shooting in no wind.
Pegboard.
Yeah. Pegboard. Dutchie wasn't there calling my shots, so that's disappointing.
I wasn't there coaching.
Coaching, yeah.
We've also had a bit of wear on those barricades as well.
Yeah. And the target's been hit too many times, so that might not ding as well as it could have. And also, I just haven't shot for 2 years.
That one's probably the better excuse. I would have led with that one personally, but yeah.
Why go with the truth? Let's just go with that. Anyway, so that should be good fun. So I'm going to have a crack on centerfire. I'm going to shoot the rimfire on the next day. So it's going to be a pretty...
I'm almost keen to go up so you don't fail alone.
I think you should. I think we should fail together.
Yeah.
Rimfire on Sunday, mate. Bring the 22 up.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, if you want to shoot centerfire,
it's not quite finished.
I've got 900. I've got spare 22s, but I've got 900 rounds for my 223 now, so you can have a crack with that.
Just need a scope for my 223 and I'll be laughing.
Yeah.
I lent it to someone who's also unemployed because I feel their pain.
Fantastic.
So I can't afford to feed it, and he had a rifle and no scope, so
Good. All right. Excellent. Well,
unemployed crew.
represent. Bronte is nailing this tonight. Absolute machine. All right, what else is going on? Hey, we put a video out starring you, Andy.
Oh,
Involving.
yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah. Starring.
Yeah, I'll take that.
So,
Neighbours are going to approach you, or home and away. What would be your pick?
Oh, neither, really.
So both.
That's just un-Australian.
You could end up being Kylie in years to come.
What?
Yeah. If you jump on Neighbours now, was she Neighbours or Home and Away?
Well, wouldn't you want to be Alf? Bloody
Yeah,
Right,
that's
flaming
it.
glass. Bronte, we need some
we need
Alf.
flaming-
we need some
yeah.
Alf on this thing.
Can you just move that screen so I can see what the buttons are again? Because my memory
No.
isn't quite that good. Because
There you
it's
go.
really inappropriate
The blue
selection.
one's great.
Yeah. Remember that one.
Good. So, latest Impact Dynamics video, although by the time this goes out, there's another video ready to go, so maybe not the latest. Anyway, recent Impact Dynamics video was the Box to 1,000 challenge. Do you want to give us a little rundown? Because this is a very different video.
Yeah, so there was a group of 4 of us. There was Travis, Nick from Ignition, and Ben from the Long Gun Project.
Yep.
We were told we had to rip our scopes off, put a new one on, bore sight it, zero it, and hit 1,000 meters with 10 shots. And if we wanted more shots or needed them, then it was a 2-minute penalty. I think.
2-minute penalty.
Yeah,
Yep.
for an extra shot.
And the first one to hit the 1,000-meter target
Got
win
win
the scope.
That's it.
Yeah. So this was a very different video. Good fun, and so far, little inside tip: it's been the fastest growing Impact Dynamics video ever.
Wow, that's
In terms
impressive.
of rate of take up. So it's about 16 minutes long, and it is. I think it's just fun. I think it's
I had a
just
great time.
a few laughs, and it's not very serious. Although, you boys knew what you're doing. Well, 3 of you boys knew what you're doing, and we won't give away the ending and who won and all that sort of gear. But whoever won got there in 8 shots, which is from zeroing a gun to smacking 1,000 meters is not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. May have been able to get a couple less, but and everyone got in under a box of ammo. So everyone was under 20 shots. I think it was. Oh yeah, we won't give away all the details.
It's a
but
good thing the target was like a car. size.
It was a 2 MOA target.
Yeah.
So it was
wasn't too bad, actually.
It was it's not a super tight target, but it's not a mammoth target either. 2 MOA.
There's no mammoths left. That's why.
they're all gone.
Yeah.
They're all gone. Hashtag training for mammoth.
Yeah, it depends how much wind you have, though. Because a 2 MOA target gets awfully small in high wind conditions.
100%. Little tip. Ben will tell you all about the wind on the video. So if you do want to watch that, that was sponsored by Falcon Optics, and who provided the scopes and Scoped Out as well. Or Scoped Out provided the scopes of Falcon Optics, let's put it that way. But you can check that out on the Impact Dynamics channel or Facebook or Instagram. It is on all of them. So get on it. And that's gone very well. So the plan is to do another one. So sometime next year, early-ish next year, you should see another video in the same vein. Very different challenge, different people, different people involved, but should be good fun because it went well. So hopefully we'll do a few more of them because it was fun to film.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Well, for you guys,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was good fun. What else can I mention here? There's a new podcast coming out. This is super self-indulgent, but if you're listening along, the next episode that drops on this channel will actually be a preview episode of a new podcast called The Stage Show, which is new from Impact Dynamics, which is a podcast with myself and everyone's favourite Darwinian, sort of adopted Darwinian, Butters. Your good mate there, Bronte.
Oh, Butters. Butters is good value.
Butters, myself, and Trent. Trent, who we certainly referenced on this podcast. I'm not sure if he's made it onto here yet, but he has been he's been the man behind all the artwork that you see for PRS, and also a number of companies actually in that scene as well. He's done a lot of artwork for them, including us, the podcast, and Impact, and Projectile Warehouse, and Scoped Out, and a whole stack of other companies external to that.
He was the mastermind.
Centrelink. No.
He did the Centrelink, whatever that is.
No.
None of you guys know it. You're looking at me like, I don't know.
We don't know, like, what does a Centrelink logo look like?
Not sure, but he was the master behind a particularly colourful gun, wasn't he, as well?
He was also the design. He was not the paint master. He was a design master.
Designer of it.
We've got to give credit where credit's due. The 6mm gay tiger that I was bestowed upon. Other way around. Anyway, was done by Tony at Delta Tactical. So if you see a few photos floating around of that thing, and if you want some Cerakote work done, Tony at Delta Tactical can make magic happen.
It's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive. I took some close-up shots the other night and slowly dripping them out on Instagram. I went out tonight, and they look, they do look very.
That's disturbing.
Which bit?
Just dripping anything out of the gay tiger.
Yeah, that dripped out, Dutchy.
What were you doing? Stroking the tiger? I was just stroking it and this dripped out.
What are you meant to do? What else are you meant to do?
Share
it. Good. So anyway, new podcast from us called The Stage Show. It is slowly working its way through all the various podcast references. It's on Google Podcasts and other bits and pieces. Probably by the time this goes up, it'll be on a few others. But you can find it on the Impact Dynamics website. Now, it is a breakdown, or it's a PRS-focused podcast, but it is very much about matches and stages and stage design and such. So you remember early days on this podcast, back with the original crew, we would do like heavy breakdowns on matches because there was only like, the PRI and then the Darwin match. So you do like a stage by stage, and then the guys went to New Zealand as well, do a stage by stage breakdown on the match, right? It might be over 2 episodes or something like those lines. But it was only, once or twice a year we'd do that. Now we've sort of stopped doing that because there's so many matches. We've only really done it occasionally for the matches that guys have been involved with. So that is going to be on that podcast. So we're breaking down not every match, but quite a few. We've just done the finale. The pilot episode 1 you'll hear is for the Buchan one, and the one we're about to record is for the US finale with some Yeah, and then it won't be just limited to the matches we are involved with or we shoot. It'll be matches that we see, but of course we'll get in touch with some guys who were there and get them involved. So that it'll be very heavy PRS focused, and not look at the wider shooting world or even the wider long range world. Will be very match orientated and bits and pieces. So anyway, that's the stage show. You can check it out. The next episode that you see in this feed will actually be it's, episode 1 from that. So that is coming out. If you like that sort of thing, you'll be able to check it out. That will be good. Cool. Right. One other thing. I should ask you guys if you've got anything to mention, because I feel like I've been talking way too long. No. Very quiet. Cool.
I've got a project brewing, but it's a long way off.
Oh, hello.
I'm taking the least direct path possible
Yes.
to getting my 300 Win mag set up for actually shooting long range.
Okay, you're going to have to add that out a little bit more. What do you mean by least direct path?
Well, I need to put a muzzle brake on it, so I've bought a lathe. It needs a chassis, so I bought a milling machine, and I'm currently converting it to a CNC milling machine.
I like where this is headed.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit early now because it's still a long way away from seeing anything, but there should be some...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you need to register it so you started your own firearms registry?
No, not yet. No, I hadn't thought that far ahead, to be honest.
Start your own country, develop your own rules, register your gun. Okay.
That sounds like
If
he
it was
just...
my own country, I wouldn't have to register it.
Fair. Yeah.
It sounds like he needed something like an excuse to buy these equipment.
Maybe.
I could get like a self-timing brake, but, I could definitely also buy a lathe.
Yeah,
So-
well, the barrel's not threaded, so, you've got to thread the barrel somehow. So a lathe seemed like the most logical tool for doing that.
Yeah, and the barrel was a blank anyway. It wasn't rifled, so I bought a rifling machine.
I can't fit one of them in my garage, unfortunately.
Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is because I remember at some point you were going to talk about chambering a gun.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I figured I'd start with just putting a muzzle brake on there because that's further away from my face if it explodes.
Yeah.
That's the
fair.
logic anyway. But eventually I would like to
Chamber. Yeah.
learn
Bring the
how to.
explosion closer to your face.
Just progressively 1 inch at a time.
Oh, that's excellent.
Keep
So-
stuffing up. You just keep chopping that
Yeah,
barrel
just
down.
get
And
shorter and shorter and shorter. Yeah. Don't know how well a 300 Win mag would go with like an 8-inch barrel, though. That might be a bit exciting.
Also legalities.
Well, that too.
No, big stock. He said he's got a milling machine.
Minimum barrel length. Anyway, so have you got experience doing that sort of stuff, or are you learning a lot of this from
learning
scratch?
as I go, but learning as I go.
Sensational. Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize the project was quite that significant.
Yeah. I think I've probably chosen about the hardest way of going about it, but, it seems like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, we'll cut one
The
arm off.
hardest way of doing it the first time. By the time you've had to redo it, 30
That's right.
40
All I need
times.
to do is make like 50 stocks and sell them at like, good money each, and I'll be cost neutral.
Oh, brilliant. Very good. Well, I do want to put a mention out there that new product floating around. Not new product, a product that's been around for a long time, but
Jackman chassis.
Jackman chassis coming soon. Bronte's barrels. As soon as he buys a bigger garage.
As soon as he realises he doesn't need a living room. No, we put a rifling machine in there. I hardly watch telly anyway.
That's true.
Good. Where was it? Anyway, Leo Photo tripods. They were at the finale, and they're now going to be stocked on Scoped Out.
Nice.
So, Leo Photo, if you looked at the range, well, I happen to have a price list here, but anyway, if you look, because I was working on this all today, but if you look at the range, there's like 400 tripods they offer. So, got together between the finale and bits and pieces and worked out like 3 or 4 key tripods, depending if you're backpack hunting or you are shooting a match or you're just wanting for spotters or something along those lines, and picking like 3 or 4 models that are sort of for what we do, because there's so many in there for cameras and video and this and that.
Yep.
And so very specifically working with the guys locally who represent Leo Photo and saying, hey, here's what we want, and we think we've narrowed it down to the right ones. So they will be up on Scoped Out shortly, and they are. I spoke to 3 guys today about tripods, and all of them were like, "That is phenomenal for the price." Like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, these guys have used them at the finale and went, wow. So you're talking like really solid tripods and with a ball head on there, like a 40 mil
Because it's the
head on
ball
it.
head that
Ball head.
really makes and breaks a tripod. Beyond it, legs collapsing on itself, which most people manufacturers have kind of got figured out. It's the ball head that.
Yeah, but also the quick deploy legs, like being able to actually
Yep.
pull those legs out quickly in bits and pieces. And these are like full setups with quick release ARCA setups for
Yeah, nice.
$700.
Wow, that's
Or thereabouts, depending on models and stuff. But yeah, that's
pretty sharp.
sort of money. So anyway, if you want Scoped Out, get in touch and we'll hook those up because they're impressive. They're impressive and they're supported locally and all that sort of thing. So that's what we want. So anyway, I guess that's the product of the sponsor for the episode. There you go, Leo Photo. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Right. Hey, I have a exciting announcement to put forward. Have you got a noise for us there, Bronte? You have picked that well, sir. You have picked that well. We're going to do something for 2019 that we haven't done before, but we'd like to. We're going to do we haven't got a name for these yet. The 2019 Precision Shooting Podcasts Awards, for lack of a thanks, Greg. For lack of a better word, we're going to put some categories forward. And then put it out to you guys for some votes with some nominations and bits and pieces. And we want to hear from you. And then our next episode, which is going to be going probably, I think it's live. We'll confirm the date, but it should be around the 12th of December, somewhere in there, a couple of weeks from the time we're recording this. We're going to do a live episode where we will stream it out. So Facebook, YouTube. We will be on those and you can watch the episode and get involved in bits and pieces, but we will be giving out the awards. The awards mean nothing, but, they're awards.
everybody likes an award.
Wow, depends what it's
It's like
for.
a participation award, really.
No,
That's more than a
No, not everyone gets a prize.
no, not everyone gets it. Only select. So we're going to give out a couple of. We've got about 9 or 10 categories that are going to go up. You'll be able to find it on the website. You'll be able to find it on Facebook and Insta and stuff. All the links to be able to vote in the various awards. So, Bronny, you want to read us the first category that we've come up with? This is a pretty boring category, but anyway.
Oh, optical innovation of the year.
Optical innovation of the year.
I really like how you introduced that. There was a bit of twang in the optical innovation of the year. I wasn't sure if you were going, I don't really want to do that.
Well, it was more like, I don't think it's that boring.
Yeah, fair call.
Optical innovation. I was on board. I was like,
Yeah,
this
I
would
think
be
it's
good.
a good topic. Everyone
Anyway,
likes
sorry, I
innovation.
should have kept my mouth shut. But
So the idea of, and you'll see this as a common occurrence, rather than just like scope of the year or something boring like that, we're looking for something that's been very interesting in terms of in the optics world. It could be a reticle that was amazing. It could be a rangefinder that was sensational. It's something in that side of things, not just limited to like, we had the best scope and then this best combining scope and then this was the best rangefinder. Like we just ended up with 400 awards. That's when everyone wins a prize. So we're going to cull it down to the optical innovation of the year. Have you guys got any nominations for that?
I quite like the Razer HD 4000 rangefinder. I think that was it's called.
That's
You
what
know,
it's called.
for-
Yep.
That capacity in a rangefinder for that price point
Yep.
is pretty damn impressive, really.
Yeah, it's good innovation. You don't see too many that will go that distance for that sort of dollars.
You know, it's probably not necessarily the best rangefinder if money's no object.
Oh, yeah,
but,
for sure.
You know, you go down the Terrapin path or you know your Vectronics, but not everyone can justify that sort of money.
No, they can't. Okay. Anyone else got a?
I'm trying to think what actually came out this year.
Oh, we'll throw it up and look, we can cull some of these. But anyway, you're talking the right idea. Right idea?
What?
No? Okay, good.
No.
Just put like I'm gonna throw out the
Actually, what
here
does
we
come
go.
to mind
Yep.
is someone was showing off a spotting scope with I think it was a digital reticle that dropped in and out.
Yep.
I think it was Swarovski.
It was a Swarovski, yeah. I got a feeling they weren't out this year, but
They weren't?
that's
Okay.
the right way we're going. Yeah, that sort of
Z
stuff.
comps, do they count as this year?
Yeah. Yeah, let's count them
reckon-
because they only actually they were announced last year at SHOT. They only actually hit the market this
Yeah.
year. So yeah, I think we're going to loosely base this on did it hit public release this year? Yeah, did it get into hands even if it was announced previously? Yes, ZComp's really good suggestion.
Yeah.
If we're going to go down the line of reticles, the EBR 7C from Vortex.
Does that count though? Because that was in the AMG.
No, it wasn't. That was a 7B or D or something.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's not the same
Not quite
reticle.
the
Very
same.
similar, but not the same reticle. I mean, we could argue that one. But anyway, I'm not sure that will win, to be honest. But
Yeah, I think it's probably better ones out there.
But let's go with that. Yeah, okay. All right. So that sort of thing, guys. So there's a few. We'll put a few nominations up in there, but you can definitely enter your own. So as long as it's within the optical realm, we will be open to it. And yeah, just that it's released sometime in 2019. We might allow a month or two in 2018. Yeah, you do that the NX8 line from
Yeah,
Night
that's
Force is
actually-
probably another
yeah.
one that's in that category. XTR3 from Burris. If we're just talking straight scopes, that's a really nice scope for the dollars it is. Yeah, all sorts of options. So whatever you liked, we might allow a few months of 2018, but if it was actually in hands in June 2018,
It's a bit old.
yeah, we're probably not going to count that. Cool. Righto. Andy, can you read the next one?
Is that one rifle innovation of the year?
Yep. That's correct.
There you go.
Any nominations? So these are obviously very similar, but pretty broad. So,
So just to clarify, is
Yeah.
it rifles only, or is it rifle sort of products like chassis and the like, or is that
I
going to get
think
captured
we
later?
go with rifle products. So barrels, chassis, bits and pieces, anything that contributes to that rifle cartridge, for example. Any nominations for rifle innovation of the year?
The
That-
Yeet cannon
Yeah.
in all its forms.
yes.
Not necessarily the high
Pretty
point
sure
piece
it's a
of
pistol,
junk.
though.
No, I said not necessarily the high point piece of junk, just all of the flow-ons from it.
Do we change that to firearm innovation of the
Yeah,
year?
No, because
firearm.
then it's a win for Yeet already. Everyone knows that's
Should we just call the awards the Yeets?
rifle innovation. Yeah, we could.
Just the name of the rather than the
Will there be like little
the Oscars?
little- yeah.
Just the Yeets, the
Yeets?
Yeeties.
Yeah, well, might need a bit of tweaking, I think.
Well, I'm pretty sure if we don't do it, HK will.
Well, I reckon if you get your prize, you've got to yeet it somewhere. So otherwise, it's taken back. But no, you're unworthy of this prize.
We will yeet it to the winners. I'll film myself going to the post box and just yeeting it in the post box.
Post office just at the first. What are you doing, mate?
Yeet.
Oh, I get it.
Makes
I
sense
got
then.
it after the first 4. You don't need to throw another 5 at me.
We had 9 awards.
Yeet. All right, so rifle innovation of the year to keep the yeet cannon out of it. All right, I'll throw something out. The MPA Matrix chassis. That's something that came out differently. The 6mm GT / Gay Tiger. That came out this year.
Was the MDT ACC, was that this year?
Yeah, we'll count that as this year because it was announced at SHOT this year. So, yeah.
That one seemed pretty popular.
Yeah. Could we count this? Oh no, that's accessories. Anyway, yeah. So anything rifle based. So let's if it's integral to the rifle, so actions, barrels, chassis, triggers.
Combinations like how the Howard Bravo's got the KRG, is that right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
mean Howard Bravos before, but yeah, correct.
Right,
Like
yep.
maybe the Oryx, the Howard Oryx would be in this category. It's a pretty broad category, but anything that is a rifle or significant rifle component. We're not talking about bipods and other bits and pieces. Like they'll be in the next one.
Very
Now we've just
funnily
given it
enough.
away. Yeah. Anyway, that sort of thing. So again, nominations, guys, would be great. Dutchy, can you do?
The next
The next one?
section is Accessories Innovation of the Year.
Yeah.
And it's not the Beard Accessory Store.
It's not the Beard Accessory Store. We should probably play their song just for a moment.
Yeah. Yay!
Yeah. So this will cover like the sticky game changer, for example, or what do we? The Psych Pod,
The what pod?
Psych or Sky, Sky Pods. Anyway, I don't know how to say that. But anyway, good. You're not familiar with that
No,
one? Cool.
not
Something for you
familiar
to
with that
learn. Yeah. Psych
I wish I
Pod.
knew more of the lyrics from that song.
I thought it was
At
Sky.
the Beard Accessory Store.
We know like 5 of them pretty
That's
well.
pretty good, yeah.
That's the majority of them.
Beards.
So, any other accessories? What have you taken on this year, Andy? That might be.
Ooh, the ultimate bipod, apparently.
Yeah, we're just looking at the Psych Pod.
I reckon would weights come into it? The weights sort of, putting
yeah.
weights into chassis
I mean,
sort of
you
come
gotta-
out this year.
Yeah, it's been certainly
MDT,
popularised this year.
MPA. I
Yeah,
remember
MPA
that.
had done stuff, but you could let's claim the MDT particular weights there because they did it differently. So yeah, sure. Any other accessories that came out this year?
When did the 4 penguins in a trap come out? That was last year, wasn't it?
Sure.
I don't know what it's called. I've forgotten the name.
4 penguins. Oh,
Tactical udder?
the tactical udder.
Oh, yeah. Right. I was pretty
No,
lost.
Yeah, the penguin shaker.
Now we're with you.
Yeah.
Now we're with you.
What about the E dope card?
Yeah, that was previously
Oh, it
released.
was.
Yeah, but right stuff, that sort of stuff, guys. If you're listening and deciding what to put forward, those are the sort of products that will fall into accessories, tripods or anything along those lines. Yeah.
What about the MTN tactical table?
No,
Does
we're
it-
looking for good ones.
What are you
Sorry.
talking about? If you need to cut up some cheese or something like that?
Tell you what, even if you get that, if you put something forward and it's slightly the wrong category, we'll categorise it so your vote will still count. Your nomination will still count. So that will be excellent. So I guess the way we're going to work with those ones there, if you nominate something, that'll count as a vote for it. So if 10 people nominate the same thing, then cool, it'll be 10 votes for it. Should we destroy their thoughts about votes yet? No,
let's
save
just
that.
save that
Let's
suspense.
save that. All right, next one there. This is pretty going to be pretty standard. PRS Australia Match of the Year. So now, not everyone listening's gone to a PRS Australia match. That's cool. But a whole bunch of you, a bunch of you have, and a bunch of you have, watched them, seen photos of them, all that sort of gear. So I'll have all the various matches listed, and you can tell us which one was your favourite in terms of if you watched it or you liked the artwork for it on your Trent or whatever it is, whatever aspect of it that you liked. We can cover all aspects, Andy, there in the T-shirt. Cheers. We've got about 4 of those suckers left, I think. So jump on the website and anyway, side plug. I've thrown myself. The PRS Australia Match of the Year. So choose, nominate whichever one you like the most, either from external point of view or from actually shooting it. That would be sensational. Ronnie, over to you, mate.
Episode title of the year.
Yeah, our
I'm assuming
episodes.
that's limited to our podcast, not any podcast, because that could be quite
Yeah.
broad.
And TV shows. In TV shows, we'll open it up
Yeah.
to. No, that is ours. So we'll nominate all of our. She might let you guys. There's been about 30 episodes or something this year at a guess. So, we might nominate them. Anyway, whichever one was your most amusing one. Yeah, there might be a vote for your favourite episode if you have a favourite episode. I think Servo Burgers is probably my favourite.
Dialing on a nylon bush.
Yeah, when I got announced, that was the first one I thought of.
Darling on a knife. Yeah, who comes up with this rubbish?
Well, it was the great man himself that said it. That was Paul.
That was Paul who said that. Yeah. Okay. So there's been some amusing track titles. Messy Bowl.
The 4-pack of penguin chokers.
4-pack penguins. Dialing on it. He called himself Russian. Ute Cannon was one of our more popular episodes. Ute Cannon, actually, for some reason.
For some reason.
For some reason. Yeah. Anyway, so there's a few episodes there. Good. Just looking back on those. So we'll put them up. So you can choose your favorite one. I mean, not all of these episodes, not all of these categories are going to be super serious, but I mean that one is, but the others maybe not so much. Andy, can you see the next one? It says shooting video of the year. Say that.
Oh, my eyes aren't that good. Shooting video of the year.
Oh, good job. Good job. No, that was the wrong one. Bronte, you got the wrong
should have been that one.
Yeah, there you go. Good self-correction. Well done, mate.
I always had to really deserve my nose.
Say that out for me. Shooting video of the year. So this is what I'm going to do with this one. Any nominations, any shooting related video is going to, and these are from Vortex makes some excellent videos. You could nominate the one starring Andy from the other week if you wanted to.
I highly recommend it.
Good. And so, but also. We shall share out a number of videos over the next couple of weeks of ones to put in your mind. Perhaps ones that we've referenced many times, perhaps never publicly shared. So
Quality.
Yeah. So we will share out a few.
Is that from this year?
I
you know
don't
what?
care.
Do you know what?
Like this year.
We're gonna open this particular category is going to be open to.
I love the Yeet Awards. They're so corrupt.
Yeah, when you got to the voting
we want
system
5 things to win, so we're gonna.
Oh yeah, it gets more corrupt by the way. Keep listening. Keep
It's like
listening.
the Stonecutters, isn't it?
That's all right.
Who rings every Yeet Award note? We do.
We do.
We do.
I think that's the first time we've collectively sung on the podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
Well done. Speaking of which, speaking of us and how good our podcast is, next one is Podcast of the Year.
Bit of a moot point,
And
isn't it?
after we've worn ourselves, patting ourselves on the back,
So my vote for this one is going to be VP Precision Podcast.
my vote is not for that one.
So there has been a massive amount of podcasts that have come on board in the last year or so. Again, this is not necessarily the best podcast that has launched this year. This is purely what we think the best shooting related podcast is this year. So again, there'll be heaps nominated, and it's not for us to win specifically. Please vote. Find one and vote. We're not insecure enough to think that we have to win this one. In fact, are we taking ourselves out of the nomination?
I think we
pretty
should.
well.
Yeah. All right. So this is the. Is that just saying that we're the best, but we just want to let everyone else?
Yeah, pretty much.
Surely.
I'll take that.
Didn't realise there was another option.
We want to hear what your favourite other podcast is to listen to. That's shooting
If you
related.
listen to any other podcast.
I'm sure they do.
I know I don't.
You don't listen to this one.
And I don't listen to any other one either, so no, I wasn't lying.
Guest of the year as well, particularly at the beginning of the year. We had a number of guests involved. So either guests that have joined us for a group episode or one that's been an interview. I'm going to wind that back to a little while. I'll specifically nominate who those people are over the last probably 18 months or so. It'll be a little bit more. We have been shy on having the interviews, and more details will come out about that early in the new year. So there's a reason. It hasn't been just, we couldn't get around to it. It has been very specific as to why we haven't had many interviews recently. That will all come clear later. Good. Bronte, you were excited about this next category.
That doesn't paint me in a very good light there, Rusty.
I'm excited about this next category as well.
Yeah, so am I, but don't tell everyone.
Sorry, Andy thought this one
Yeah,
up.
Andy thought this was a good idea. The Non-Game Changer Award.
Yeah. So this is. Do you want to explain it? You
No,
explain
I think you go.
I'm not the most passionate about this one.
It's the
I think
product
Bronte
that-
should, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I'm too emotionally invested.
It's the product that was hyped up that just stunk.
Well put.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just they built it up and it just did not live up close to expectations.
Yeah, or even and because the game changer, we will acknowledge that the game changer bag from Result Precision was a game changer and was cheers. And
From who?
Resort Precision. You got me again. Damn it. Right. It's this rum from the Rum Baron. That's his problem. Anyway, another nomination for Podcast of the Year, Hunting HQ. Thanks to the Rum Baron. In fact, if he provides us a bottle of rum for the next episode, the live episode,
Each.
Hunting HQ will
It
win.
will be the worst podcast ever.
It'll be
About the
beautiful.
first 30 minutes will be coherent, and then it'll just be just Stonecutter songs.
We're going to tune in. Sounds great. Anyway, if Rum Baron, if you're listening, bottle of rum will definitely guarantee Honey HQ's. It'll rank it up anyway. It'll rank it up. Can't guarantee the win. That would be very Stonecutterish.
No, I could guarantee the win. I literally have nothing to do all day.
Oh, it definitely wouldn't hurt their prospects.
I just wasn't willing to admit to it. Anyway, what are we going? Non-game changer award. So the Resort Precision game changer did change the game of how we shoot and stuff. But there has been a
How we drape our bags on things.
Yeah, there's been a swag of products that has come out, such as the Tiki-Take one, which was classed as a game changer. The Sierra tipped game changer projectiles, which didn't change a lot.
Changed the game. Still came out the same way, did they?
Yeah,
It's still
loud
coming,
noise.
spinning.
the dude with the hat, with the ticker fore-end replacement that would
Turn into a bipod.
turn into a
Yeah.
bipod that was the game changer as well. And there was something else that came out the other day we got tagged in. Anyway, all this stuff that was the game changer that did not change a thing. So things that are overhyped, particularly bonus points or bonus anti-points if they use the word game changer in their marketing.
Yes.
So we want to hear from you guys what was hyped up and disappointed you immensely in terms of products. Andy, last one, or Dutchie, if you can read it. Whoever's eyes better.
Shooting meme of the year.
Yep. Shooting meme of the year. We do a post on Facey. We just want to see your memes. It's pretty much.
We want to laugh.
We want to laugh. We want to laugh. We'll choose the one that this will be chosen by whichever one makes us laugh the most. So if you want to get creative, make a meme about us. Go for it. We want to see plenty of gay tiger memes. Want to see you cannot use ARS memes. In fact, ARS may win if you put one of their memes up and certainly honour who came up with it. ARS has got a good chance with this one.
Yeah,
fact-
they've definitely got a few horses in that race.
Yeah, for the ARS
There's a
guys
pretty.
are
Yeah, those guys are pretty good.
Yeah. so that's what you're up against. But anyway, send us all your shooting memes, all the good shooting memes and the bad ones. Actually, probably more of the bad
Bad
ones.
one's probably actually better.
Yeah.
Actually, really. Yeah.
More chance with Dutchie to win. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And a bottle of rum will probably help your chances as well. So, yeah, that's it. So that will be, I believe, 12th of December, but confirm that on Facebook. But we'll be live SA time from about 8:30 onwards, and giving away the yeets.
So there's still the elephant in the room, though.
Oh, what's that?
The voting system.
Oh yeah. We didn't talk about that.
Well, we briefly said we were open to
mentioned-
bribes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was mentioned, right? Everyone
Briefly,
heard that?
several times.
Yeah, everyone heard that? Everyone listening heard that?
So we'll be super clear. There's varying ways these categories are going to be decided, and we certainly want your votes and your input. No guarantees that the particular item that gets the most votes wins. We just want to put that disclaimer out there because we may override it. We just reserve that right to
veto.
have several beverages and just change our minds. Is I think what we're trying to say. So, but we will certainly take the votes of the listeners, it's you guys, into account when making decisions. And chances are on several of these occasions, the votes will decide things. So we will be steered greatly by your input. Significantly. So please jump on board. But not all of these are going to be voting based ones. Obviously, the shooting memes, we just want to see your memes, and we'll base it on the giggleometer, how much we giggle by it. So we'll get that installed by next week. By 2 weeks' time. So anyway, jump on that. We want to hear from you. And is it going with the Yeet Awards? You did say it before, Dutchie.
I think we need to, I don't know.
We're workshopping it. Yeah, anyway, the Precision Shooting Podcast Awards, the Golden Tonsils.
We can't be nominated for the non-game changer award, can we?
We can. Yeah.
Can?
Most disappointing podcast of the year.
Yeah, no,
Seems
I'll
fair.
wear that, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Don't
we never say that we are going to change
exactly.
the game.
Yeah, that's
So-
it.
But we did say we're going to cover all aspects.
Which,
It is,
which we haven't, because
it's a
that is
long-term
very
project,
broad.
though, Dutchie. It's a long-term
It's ongoing.
project. Yeah, we could over the next 45 years, we probably will cover all the aspects, including
but what about the aspects that develop over time?
including death. Yeah,
Yeah, true.
so that's how long I plan to live for. All right, good. That's the awards. Guys. Hey, we put up that we would like some questions for tonight to go along with our awards, and we got some. So the first one's actually from a couple of weeks ago. This is from someone whose name I don't have. Whoops. Right. Anyway, from the display picture, he's standing in front of a lake with some hills in the background. Could be Canada. Could be New Zealand. What do
Is
you
it
reckon, Bronte?
Aquaman?
It's not Aquaman.
I'm leaning more towards, Canada, North
Canada?
America.
Yeah. And he's wearing a red jacket.
I'm going to
white
throw it
shirt.
out there and say it's Hawaii.
Good. Done. All right. Hawaii.
Yeah, it's
Hawaiian
close.
Pete, we'll call him.
Yeah.
Hawaiian Pete says, hey, hey guys, I have a question about reloading for precision.
Well, he actually says, I have a questions.
Oh, he does too. All right. I started organising my brass by weight, but I've since found out that the internal volume is generally considered to be more accurate. My question is, Bronte's already showed his hand. My question, he'd be horrible at poker. My question is how...
He almost went for the...
My question is, have you or heard how other people organise their brass for precision? Too much time in Hawaii under the sun. Organise their brass for precision, and if they do measure the internal volume, what's the best way you've seen? Cheers in advance. Well, we've already got the cheers, so let's move on. Next question. Now, Bronte, have you done this before? You've done volumetric
Yeah, I
something or other?
did when I had way too much time on my hands.
Yep. Oh, those were the days.
Yeah, how good were they? How are they, Dutchy? Yeah, so
At least I haven't bought a lathe.
yeah, but that's because I want to fit a muzzle brake.
That's because I can't afford one.
To be honest, I tried all that stuff, tried weight sorting brass, and you look at where the weight is on a brass case, you've got a lot of mass down in the head end of it.
Mhm.
So, the depth at which that rebate is cut for where your extractor hook's on can have a pretty significant impact to the case weight. So my preferred method would be to fill them with water.
Yep.
And weigh them before, fill them with water, weigh them again, subtract the first weight.
Yep.
All the rest, work out what the actual mass of the water is.
Yes.
But I tend to not worry about doing that. I just buy 400, 500 cases of the same batch of the same manufacturer in one go,
And that's good enough.
and that's close enough.
Cool. Excellent. All right. Just scrolling. We're going to look for more questions. Just scrolling past. A little shout out to Low Vis Gear. They've just received a stack of the Armageddon Gear Game Changers in. So if you are looking for a game changer from Low Vis Gear, from Armageddon Gear, jump on board. A few other bits and pieces as well. But anyway, good. In fact, I need one of those, so I'm going to jump on before I release this podcast so I can get one. What were we doing? Looking for questions. Okay. We got a lot of questions, by the way. Thanks heaps for the
So
guys.
essentially, long story short, there's probably better ways to spend your time than
Yes.
volume. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to get data
For quick load,
For quick
really
load?
helpful for that.
Yeah.
And if you were in a situation where you're forced to use mixed head stamp brass,
Mhm.
it would probably have a lot more value there. But if you're using brass from the same batch from the same manufacturer, unless you're shooting bench rest and
Yeah, I was
really,
going to say this sounds more like a bench
really
rest thing, doesn't it?
chasing that, minute improvements, I really think you can spend your time better elsewhere and see more bang for your buck in your prep.
Cool. Thoughts? Andy? No? Yes?
Yeah, I've never bothered with it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I honestly stopped listening when you were talking because I'm like, God, this sounds so f***ing boring to do for
That's 'cause it is.
Yeah, for no real benefit. I actually tuned out and then came back and you were still talking.
I have done it as well, and it is interesting. If you're that way inclined, it's probably good to know, but it's not. It's probably more if you have multiple brands of brass or batches of brass, it's not silly to know the difference between those, but I wouldn't be
But if you go on
measuring
super
several.
precision, you wouldn't be using different head
Correct.
stands.
100%.
And do you have to do it with a primer in? No, I don't want to know because then I'll be tempted to do it.
Well, I did it with a spent primer, and otherwise the water leaks out the hole in the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no way of plugging it and it being an accurate weight.
You could
Well,
plug
yeah,
it,
you
yeah,
could-
because
you
the only
could plug
thing you
it
take
with-
out is water.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
you
you plug
could
it with anything because you weigh the case plugged,
Yeah.
fill it with water,
don't
and weigh it
tell
again.
Dutchy anything because he'll report back in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, and Eric's like, I have weight sorted all of my cases and I can report I
There he
found
is.
nothing because
And here is what you don't plug it with. You lied to me. You said I could plug it with anything.
Yeah.
Here's a list of 87 things that do not work. Also, still haven't got a job. Right. Okay, so from the questions that we had tonight, and I'm not sure we're gonna get through all of these, but let's start off with this one. How relevant is 308 Win and 6.5 Creedmoor now that 6BR and all the 6mm variants have become the hottest choice of PRS shooters? Andy, any thoughts on that? Because you run a Creedmoor, don't you?
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
6.5.
Yeah.
Yep. No.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like there are definitely benefits to going to the 6mm. Not a silly thing to do as well, and they can definitely reach out to the distance.
Does that make 308 and 6.5 Creedmoor irrelevant?
I don't think so. I think you still run a lighter pill in the 6.5 Creed and get it down there pretty quick. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so.
Bronte, any thought on that?
I think the value in the 6.5 Creed is that you can buy factory ammo off the shelf, and it's pretty damn good.
And rifles.
Yeah, you go, run down the shop. Bravo, we've talked about them before. Not a lot of money, really bloody accurate rifle.
Yeah.
I really, I'm not too familiar with many 6.5 BR rifles you can walk down the shop and buy. There just isn't that many of them. You're talking about a custom job there. So if you're getting just starting, your 6.5 Creed, I think, is still very hard to go past. If you've been doing it for a while and you're jumping down the rabbit hole of all sorts of weird and wonderful things, then yeah, sure, your sixes definitely have some notable advantages. But yeah, I wouldn't. If you were shooting a 6.5, if the best shooter in the competition was shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor and an average shooter was shooting the fancier 6mm, the best shooter's still going to beat him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The difference really isn't that significant.
I think I'd tackle those two as different questions. How relevant is the 308 Winchester?
Not very.
Yeah, in reality, unless you've got some of I probably haven't really recommended the 308 for a number of years now. Basically, ever since the 6.5 Creed got to the price point for ammo that the 308 for match ammo was at, that's when I changed to recommending the Creedmoor as the option to start with. But the 308, we had one 30 cal the finale out of 45 shooters.
That wasn't Butters with a 300 Win mag, was it?
Not Butters. No, I haven't seen a 300 Win mag for
Quite a while.
maybe one or two this year.
Yeah.
With a caveat, though, if that's what you've got, use it.
For sure.
That's fine. It'll do the job. But if that's what you've got, I don't mean to be harsh, but if that's what you've got and you're just starting out in it, your skill level is going to be holding you back far more than your caliber will. And work on that. Guys still do train and still do shoot 308s in comps and bits and pieces. We don't have that tactical division over here in this country at this stage where 308s sort of can play. And because of that, they're not so common to see, but you can certainly shoot a match with it. You can certainly do well at a match with it. I know Luke McKinney has shot 308 in some matches, and in both in this and in service rifle, precision service rifle, and has done well in it. And the precision service rifle guys still run 308, a category for NATO, which still is pretty popular.
Probably the other side of the 308 though is it kicks more than all your other stuff. So from a training perspective, it's probably not that bad to do with your recoil management, and you'll probably learn a little bit more about setting yourself up, getting square behind the gun, all these wonderful things, with something that recoils rather than a 6mm with a brake that just goes bang. Oh, it's going bang. Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I think that you'll find that even a number of the very good shooters still shoot on a 308 to harness that value to it. But if you are like today trying to buy a gun, I would buy a 6.5 Creedmoor still.
Agree.
Yeah, unless you're building something and you're relatively experienced with reloading, I would just go and buy a 6.5 Creedmoor. Paul, hopefully that answered your question. Actually, just out of interest, who in the room has a 308 still? Yes,
I do.
You do?
I own one for about a month,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
then realised it was rubbish and bought a 3 Win Mag.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. What about you, Andy? Ever owned one?
No, I haven't.
No,
No, I went
okay.
straight to 6.5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you owned a 270 for a long time though, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I love my 308 for hunting. It's
Yep.
It knocks a lot of things flat.
Absolutely. We would
But for
assume
PRS, I've used it once at the PRS club a couple of weeks ago, and within about one shot, I knew it was not going to be good.
Not suitable.
Yeah, the problem I had with the 308 is you used to shoot a lot of foxes. So you'd have a fox at 95 metres, you'd shoot at it, and then it would run to 150 metres, and all of a sudden you're shooting at its feet rather than it wasn't flat enough.
So on that, I've got a couple of questions here that could be sort of related. I would want to get into the long range shooting. I hunt with my 30-06 and can shoot to 500 metres fine. But I want a ring still at 1,200 metres. Thinking of a Ticker T3X and 6.5 Creedmoor, I will be reloading. Have you used one? And also tips on trigger pull training. Oh, we've jumped questions there. Let's go back to the original one. So currently shoots 500 metres with 30-06. Can shoot it out to 500 metres, no dramas. But wants to take it out a lot further. Ticker T3X. Sandy, you're actually Brundy, you're in the Ticker camp as well. 6.5 Creedmoor. Yours is a TAC A1, but it's still a T3X at its core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good platform.
Yep.
Yep.
You made a ring at 1,000 metres fairly comfortably the other day.
Yep. Yeah. It took me, three?
Spoiler alert for the video.
Yeah. Took me a couple of shots to get on, really. But yeah, and I think, it's a good platform to build on. And if you're reloading, I reload the 6.5 Creedmoor, and I'm getting pretty good results out of that. So
Easy to get components for and all that sort of gear. Yeah.
The brass isn't crazy, and the projectiles are pretty widely available now, and they've always been available. But.
Yeah, gives you lots of options as well for a rebarrel when you get to that stage. You've got so many options with that bolt face. Yeah. Yeah. Bronte, you're a fan of Tiggers generally?
Yeah, I think they're a very good platform. They really are.
I'm just going to jump questions here. We'll come back to yours, Anthony. That was your second question. We'll come back to one from Greg here. Tips on modifying hunting rifle with synthetic stock or timber to get better long range capability for target shooting, whilst maintaining its main use as a hunting rifle for a tight ass like me. He says. Which is a really interesting point, because a lot of guys are sitting there on the fringes of shooting a match or PRS or long range, just generic long range, and have a hunting gun and want to take it further and wanting to do. This is almost an episode we could probably do. We're taking like a standard hunting rifle, but just off the top of your head, any quick little modifications or tweaks, or what would you do? Where is your time and money best spent in tweaking that up to a long range tack driver as best you can?
2 places I'd go straight to would be making sure I had a proper detached from a magazine if you wanted to shoot it in competitions with a big enough capacity.
Yep.
And then the synthetic stock, depending on what one it is, can be a bit how you're doing with the cheap Tupperware ones, but with a timber stock, it definitely benefit from potentially pillar bedding and glass bedding the action.
Yeah. I was going to just make sure it's free floating barrel as well.
Yeah.
And if you're loading a bipod, it doesn't flex up or touch your barrel.
Yep. Dutch, you've made some hunting rifles shoot sensationally. Any ideas on what you would?
That was just him.
That was him?
Yeah, that was.
Oh, this is his question. Yeah.
No, that's just his operator style.
He just shoots very well. Well, I'm not going to argue that. I've seen him shoot.
I just wouldn't do it.
Just wouldn't do it?
Nah.
There's something to be said for that.
I would probably go, I'm going to ruin my hunting rifle by trying to mod it to fit a competition style.
Yep. Bite the bullet.
Probably be better off getting a dedicated one. And I've come to that conclusion doing it the hard way, trying to get my hunting rifle to a position where it would be good in PRS situation. It's just not.
Yep.
It's not as good. Like I'll be there having fun, yes, but I'm not going to be competing.
Solid advice. Yeah. As soon as you're compromising on both. Yeah, you never get either. If you're trying to do 2 things, you're not going to do either of them. Great.
We'll always support buying more firearms.
Yeah, I will always advocate for that.
And speaking of which, Dutchy is just opening his own gun shop. Actually, we forgot to mention that. No. I'm going to say, I know it's not what you mentioned here, you're talking about your synthetic stock or timber stock, but if I was going to, let's go a more generic question, is tips on modifying a hunting rifle to use as a long-range shooting gun scope is we Dutchy and I share we've got the same gun. We've both got a 308 Thompson Icon, and that is a very much a lightweight hunting gun with a 3-round magazine, although Dutchy's modified his, but it's a very generic hunting gun, great for hunting, shot lots of things with it. But I've taken that thing out, and it's pencil barrel, which is probably important to mention. I've taken that thing out well past 900 metres, probably 1,000 maybe. I'm just
I got mine over 1,000.
Yeah.
With a 25 power vortex on it.
Yeah,
like
they'll
consistent.
do it. But the scope was the kicker, is the ability to dial that scope to where it needed to go was pretty important. I ran back in the day, and it was a Night Force 3.5 to 15 or 3 to 15, I forget these days, on it, and that was able to get us to those distances. That was the reason the gun got to those distances, not because of any tweaks I made to the gun. So that would be the single most important factor, particularly if you're comparing it to the gun's got a 3-9 by 40 on it.
Can't dial the turret. Yeah,
that sort of thing.
Yeah, it should be about that too. If I'm about there, it should be okay.
Okay, back to Anthony's question here. Any tips on trigger pull training to not punch the trigger? Gentlemen, anyone got
use a
anything to
finger,
say?
not the fist.
Sandpaper the tip off your finger, so it's really sensitive. You'll never punch a trigger if you've got a red raw finger. You won't. Your finger is that much more sensitive.
It's just legal disclaimer. We're not advocating this advice in any way, and the hosts of this show. Anyway, great idea, Dutchy. Great idea. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Hey, I've lifted that rung off the bottom rung. I've just moved it up a peg.
Love it.
Let's see who does it. I never said it'd be lawyer proof.
Just get this really badly drafted email missing all the characters you'd normally put. Your advice and wrong. Okay.
I didn't say belt sander.
But maybe you should have. All right. Do you know I'm actually dragging up one of the manuals from back in the Impact Dynamics training days from years ago, and because I read a fair bit about this, about trigger control. So unless anyone else got anything to do,
Yeah, look, there's your fingertip. Grind the tip off.
There is an image of that.
Yeah.
There are basically
First pad. If you grind the second pad off, you've gone too far.
If you see blood, stop.
Call for an ambulance.
So they're traditionally the fingertip is what you're told to use right on the top bit of your finger, and that's meant to be the most sensitive position, and is apparently ideal. But often your finger is such a way where you will be very uncomfortable with it sitting there, and the way you pull back on the trigger is not very straight. Much more significant in handguns, but also can play a factor in rifle. But those guys who are tradies, one sitting here, often, or guitar players, or musicians of some sort, or whatever it is, or they've belt sanded their finger, they may have big calluses on their fingertips, and therefore they can't actually feel that trigger touching their finger, and they get no feedback from it at all. The first pad of your finger, that is where I use. That's where actually I've found the majority of people do actually use. And most people can't tell you what part of their finger they use, but once they think about it, they go, oh yeah, actually, that's the most common one. That's what I use. The next part is actually the join between the first and second segment of your finger. I don't know, the inside of the knuckle. That is my backup position, and I can shoot as well with that than the first pad. It's just not as comfortable, but I can still, the group size doesn't change.
Why do you need a backup position?
In case you belt sand the tip of your finger.
Belt
Can you
sand.
just use the other hand, like shoot left-handed instead then?
No,
If you're smart enough to belt down the end of your finger,
probably not
you're
gonna-
not going to know how to use your left hand.
I actually concede that point. Yeah, you're right.
the guy told me that I should belt sand my finger up, so I did.
Surprisingly, and particularly guys who've got longer fingers, often that comes through the stock quite a fair way, and they actually quite comfortably will rest on that join as long as they can get sensitivity. And sometimes, again, the first pad is so calloused up that's where it works really well. And then the second pad, it's less common, but
Can
I do.
I add something in
course.
here? Because I had this pointed out while I was up at the range by possibly the world's greatest spotter,
Yep.
Rob. He
Mr. Harker himself.
Yes, he was there, and he was. I was having a little trouble with the Ultra Mag.
Yep.
And he told me to move my thumb from a thumb over to a thumb on the same side grip, and that changed the position of where my finger was in relation to the trigger blade.
Yep.
And I did find it a lot easier.
Wow.
So that's also something to think about, how you're actually gripping the stock.
Yeah, that's another point. Yeah, really good. Really good. Thumbs up.
Someone give me an actual lot. That was good advice. Don't belt. There we go.
I'm more inclined to go with this one.
Just natural.
Every genius has their critics, don't they?
And then the second pad, less common, but sometimes long fingers or just no feeling in it, and just shape of the gun. Sometimes that second pad. And I've seen guys shoot exceptionally well and actually shift to using the second pad on their finger because it downrange, the results spoke for themselves. It's not as common. It's nowhere near as common, but I have seen guys use that. And it's one of those things when you've got someone over your shoulder saying, hey, whereabouts on your finger do you shoot? And they go, don't know. You go, right, try all four positions, shoot groups with all four positions, see how they go. And you shoot it, and the best group you get is your second pad. You'd be a bit mad if you didn't move to it. If that was comfortable and you shot really well, then happy days. Anyway.
I've noticed that whatever rifle I'm using does affect where on my finger I'm using.
100%.
The shape of the stock is a huge factor. And
even shooting position, like prone's different for me than if I'm standing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well and truly.
Or standing supported or something like that. So it's hard to have
You will find, Dutchie, that if you change to that thumbs up position, that will reduce. Because what is happening is when your thumb is around the stock, your position of your body is going to be more affected where your hand twists around the stock. Whereas if you go thumbs up, you're literally resting that hand on the side and you start taking the weight up with the other hand or with the rest or whatever you're on. And I suspect, the guys who are shooting PRS regularly, they're keeping that right hand very consistent in where it's going because it's not actually having much effect on how they're holding the gun.
But that's where the thumb shelf is probably one of those things that has actually changed.
Oh, are you going to say it? Are you going to say it?
Not going to say quite that much, but
It's definitely a game changer.
having chassis with the thumb shelf.
Yeah.
I find it very difficult to shoot one without it now.
Yeah.
Because I just feel
Looking for
really consistent there.
I've been playing with these KRG chassis and they've got very good thumb shelves. And yeah, despite them being fairly open, like thumb hole sort of setups, that thumb shelf
It just works.
Kicks some goals. We'll show you. We'll show you after.
I've seen them, don't
You've
worry.
seen them?
I'm
Have you
quite
hand
up to
on them?
speed on the KRG
Okay. Good.
range of products.
Excellent. Is that sponsored? The other thing that I'll say on trigger pull is that I don't know if this is going to come across in audio version very well. You guys can tell me if we're explaining this very well. Plus, it's been about 3 years since I've trained this stuff, but
And 2 years since I've shot.
2 years since I've shot, and there's no wind. I'm not used to shooting in no wind. Never
I've
done
been
that
2
before.
weeks and I was rubbish. But I had fun, so I don't know. Yeah, it's a win.
A lot of guys will half pull a trigger. They will pull a trigger, probably talking more mentally, but they will pull a trigger to the point it breaks. And the big thing we used to convey is that you'll pull that trigger with the attempt, not the legit attempt, but the attempt to pull it all the way back to the back of the trigger guard. So your focus isn't on the trigger breaking. Your focus is on getting that trigger to move its full range of motion, and it will just break when it happens. And it takes your focus off that moment that goes bang to, doesn't matter when it goes bang, I've got to get this trigger to the back of the trigger guard as smoothly as I can. And it'll sound a little weird, but you do it and you put that in practice and you do that 10 times on a 22, for example, or dry fire or whatever. Actually, no, probably live fire on that particular one. Yeah, live fire on that. But as you come through that position, you will I'll caveat that in a sec. As you come through that position, you're not worried about where it goes bang. You're worried about getting it to its full range of movement and then staying there for a moment. And I mean, trigger pull is going to get into follow through, into grip and everything else we talk. This entire podcast easily. One thing, I was going to caveat that on was dry fire is an excellent way to practice that motion and learn the movement of that trigger. So if you dry fire a couple hundred times, your finger will muscle memory that movement, and that's just what you need to do. It'll go bang, but you just need to keep doing that as you go along.
There is one thing with that though, and it's actually quite good that you raised the point about the dry fire.
Yeah,
because there's a few videos, granted they're primarily in the pistol world, but the same still applies with the rifle world.
Sure.
Of people doing that trigger drill, and they're all good. They don't flinch when they know the gun's empty. As soon as you don't know whether it's loaded or empty or not, whether you're expecting recoil, all of a sudden they're flinching again and they're changing their trigger pull. So if you've got the opportunity to, good little exercise for establishing that is get somebody else to load or not load your gun, depending on how they're feeling, so you don't know whether it's loaded or not, and see how you go.
We used to, as part of a training technique, we used to have dummy rounds. And so we would mix a mag. So it'd be 10 rounds in the magazine, 3 of which were dummy rounds. Now, you couldn't do this on some ranges because they've got hang fire rules. Yeah. Although you could still wait your 30 seconds. But anyway, the point is you put your dummy rounds in and the guys would shoot, bang, bang, click, and you film this whole process, and then you film when they've hit a dummy round and see if they've jerked the trigger or done anything along those lines. And that's a really good way to get feedback on whether or not you're actually training correctly or not. Good point, Bronte. Very good point, mate. Self-congratulations. The Baron. The Baron from Hunting HQ has asked a question. Pros and cons of a carbon barrel over steel other than weight and sex appeal. No, that just stick with sex appeal. It's done.
It's pretty much sold right there, isn't it? Everyone likes carbon fibre.
Oh my God. Heat, accuracy, longevity. Has anyone in the room got a lot of experience with carbon fibre barrels? All right.
I've got one sitting in my safe.
Oh, do you? Yeah, right. Oh, did you win that, or would you?
I did.
You did. Nice. Nice. What's it in? What size?
6.5.
6.5?
It's not chambered, so
Okay.
Yeah, they don't work very well in the solar chamber.
No, they don't work very well not on a rifle either.
Yeah, but
Blow darts. Yeah. Baron, I'm going to suggest that because you've got a carbon barrel, I'm going to suggest you're probably well poised to actually answer this question. But if not, I will point you, and I'll point you where the answers could possibly be. And that's going to be to the Applied Ballistics. I think it's long range. What is it? Modern Advancements in Long Range Shooting, Volume 2.
I thought it had a ballistic. Yeah.
Is that the one you guys read out?
No, that was a different book entirely. We did actually a podcast on it a while ago where we talked through it, but that particular book has a whole section on carbon fiber barrels. So I will highly suggest Modern Advancements in Long Range Shooting Volume 2 from Applied Ballistics. Baron, if you're listening, come and borrow it if you want. I do have it. Actually, I think Greg will probably have it as well. I think we bought 3 copies. But that is going to answer a bunch of questions on that while we're doing a plug for it. Answers a bunch of questions on 22 long range shooting. Answers questions on powder scales, reloading.
Rangefinders as well.
Rangefinders, really good one. Yeah, really good. And in a moment I will find, oh man, I've probably got a few episodes to look through on this one. There is an episode that we did. If you look on YouTube, that's probably the easiest way to find it. Modern Advancements in Long Range Shooting 2, Precision Shooting Podcast channel. You should come up with that particular episode. It is on there. We talk about it, but we only reference the book and we don't go into super detail. So I'd suggest buying that book, Huntsman Firearms. Probably the best guys to go and hook it up with. Get into them and go from there. Speaking of barrels, Ed asks, how do I pick a barrel brand? Now, I know you are coming up for a...
Just choose, don't you?
Yeah. Andy is coming up for a barrel choice.
Throw on the tip off your finger.
Whatever one feels cool when you touch it.
Good. Bronte, any advice on this, gentlemen?
Possibly just see.
Do whatever you think's in your mind is going to be the best.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to go, I got the best one. That's why I always get everything I'm aiming for.
In all fairness, I mean, obviously, different people. There's the whole cut rifled versus button rifled barrels argument.
Yeah.
I've seen both shoot really well.
Bands and grooves, how many of them?
All that sort of stuff. I'd probably spend a bit of time making sure you can get the right twist rate for the projectiles you want to use. It's pretty important.
Much more critical. Oh my God. Yeah. There was a question about that, actually. We'll get to that.
And yeah, if you're buying a quality barrel, there are quite a few out there, like your Bartlands. Quality. Yeah, your Bartlands, your Kriegers.
Shooting video of the year, by the way.
There's plenty of really well known, well regarded, very consistent barrels out there.
Yep.
Even I've seen some pretty good results from some of the Swan barrels here in Australia as well.
That's fair.
And the price point of those is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So, it's what you can get your hands on as well is probably the other aspect of it.
Yeah, I reckon for me it will just pretty much come down to availability and price.
You've got one sitting in your safe, you just said.
But I'm not going to use that for comp stuff.
Oh, fucking la-di-da. Look at me. Ooh, I've got the best barrel, but I'm not going to use it because then I'll have no excuses.
Look, it's all about the sex appeal. I just want it hanging on the wall, all right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Good. Very cool. Good.
But yeah.
All right.
What are you going to do? Hey, barrel, you're looking really stiff. Oh, now I am too.
Touch it. Oh, dear.
So, barrel choice. I'm sure we've said this before. It really is. I mean, good brand, barrel, and go with it. It's so many companies make really good barrels. Choose which one you want. If they've got a good reputation in the scene that you're with, if you know some guys running them, cool, run with it. It's what you're probably best to find is a company that will back their barrels.
Yeah, I was going to say like customer service
Yeah,
and
yeah.
warranty sort of stuff.
Yeah,
maybe.
and if they got good representation in Australia, that's really good. So, like, I know the proof barrels are quite popular now, not necessarily the carbon fibre ones in Imperial as well, but stainless barrels are being really popular because I know that the guys at Delta deal with them and they will back them. They'll look after you, and the proof guys are really good to deal with as well. So they've been very popular for that. The Bartlands have always been great. Swan, again, really good service. They're a bit cheaper, but I've got a Swan barrel, and it's sensational. In fact, I'll be shooting it this weekend, and it's 2 to 3. And it was stacking factory ammo on top of each other.
Can't argue with that.
No, I can't ask for any more than that. So, yeah, I think it's one of the things where people stress out over. But unlike an action or a chassis, which can get pretty personal, the barrel, as long as it's going to do its job and you've got good service behind it, it's going to do its job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of, at the end of the day, the name on the side of it doesn't mean anything. It's whether it shoots or not.
Yeah, and I've seen
Unless you got yeet cannon on the side. Yeet!
So I have seen the Swan guys be unhappy with how a barrel's gone, and they just swapped it out and just given you another one and got it squared away from there, and that's a good thing. That's what I want from a barrel company. If a barrel happens to not do so well, they take care of it.
Fix it, yeah, exactly.
I'm sure they'd be more interested in having a look why it's not, like getting it back,
Oh,
having
yeah,
a look
yeah.
like, oh, what the hell?
What's gone on with that? So, yeah, it'll be good. Roddy, here's a question for you because you're into details and stuff. Number of shots required to obtain a meaningful SD and ES. SD being standard deviation and ES being extreme spread. Have you got a preferred number that you would run through that?
Probably somewhere definitely north of 5.
Yep.
7 to 10 is probably, if you kind of depends how consistent those shots leading up to that have been. You fire one shot,
Okay.
it's going to be the best standard deviation, extreme spread you ever see. Fantastic. You fire
Not
two
wrong.
shots,
That's when you
it's
take your photo.
statistically
Yeah.
kind of meaningless. 3 or 4, yeah. By 5, generally speaking, if you were
Starting to
going to
get-
have had something not quite
Yep.
show up like it should have, is probably going to start to show up at 5.
Yep.
And then definitely by sort of 7 to 10, you should be pretty
Confident.
certain.
Yeah.
I mean, depends what you're using to measure your velocities. If you're using a lab radar sort of thing, then
Make it 20.
make it 20.
Yeah.
Because you're not sacrificing anything by measuring your velocity while you're doing it. So
Yep. So this has come from Ben, who's a member at our club. And so, Ben, we've got a lab radar at the club. Just like if you're going to shoot and do that sort of thing with it, run 30 down it. The more numbers, the better. Yeah.
Yeah,
More numbers.
The bigger the sample pool, the better the quality of the data is going to be for sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, I would go with 10. Andy, any thoughts on that? Have you done much with
Yeah,
that?
because I'm using the magneto speed hanging off the end.
Yep.
So I've usually stuck around the 5,
Yep.
and then I'll do a 5-shot group. So then, like when I'm doing load development, I've got 5 for velocity and 5 for groups.
Yep.
And I just work through like that. But yeah, go on the lab radar, you can do all your groups and count them all. And
Yeah. And you can have it while you're shooting at steel, and you
yeah,
can,
that's it.
if you've got the opportunity
We'll
with
do
it.
the same with the magneto.
You can.
Yeah.
You can. There can be a point of impact shift. That's I guess
Yeah.
that's the caveat to that.
I've noticed a point of impact shift
I
with
mean,
mine.
you could shoot a match with a magneto on. Probably not the best idea depending on the barricades, but
Especially if you're near 3,200. Oh, that one's over.
it's a bit warm to that. That was a bit quick. Yeah, good. Very good. I think we have, a couple here. Travis Shooting Adventures. By the way, you guys have all heard Travi on the podcast. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, jump over to Travis Shooting Adventures and copy him some abuse. I mean, give him a like. Give him a like. He's
Not a bad bloke.
yeah. Yeah.
I'd give him one thumb.
Are we going to say, is he possibly the nicest bloke in Paris?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we did break him, me and Dutchy, pretty quickly though. When he was on the show, about 20 seconds. We
He's
got him
too
started.
polite.
Yeah,
He's
we
too
got him rude
polite.
in about
Yeah.
20 seconds there.
Yeah, very, very polite.
No,
Yeah,
Something's
let's
up.
go.
He's
Way
top,
too polite.
he's top bloke.
Yeah, let's go with the politest guy in Paris. Okay. When considering a cartridge change, what bits of information should one consider to help select the best option for them? I.e., with a variety of 6mm offerings, because this is the point he's at, how do you break it down and pick just one out of the pack? Is there a secret to selecting something for you personally, or is it a lucky draw, and do you just take the chance? No
Again,
secret. No secret.
I'm guessing sand down your fingers and see which one feels better.
You've assumed too much, Andy.
Yeah.
Dutchy's got some
You
clear,
would do that.
Dutchy's got some clear advice on how to select a cartridge that
The
supersedes.
first one for me is brass easy to get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because if brass is difficult, then it's
a much more sensible
and then
answer.
grind your finger up.
There it is. There it is.
And jam that piece of brass into your finger stump. You got yourself a good trigger puller now.
Good.
Like I said, I lifted it off the bottom rung.
I wonder if we've got any
And dropped it right back down.
Probably don't have any patrons left now. Okay, good. Brass being available is a super important thing. I've now I've got a 6mm GT and no brass to go along with it. Which is fine. I'm not complaining because I've got a 6mm GT. That's mad. But if I had to shoot a match in a week or two, that would be a problem. I don't have to. I'm probably not going to shoot a match till August at this stage. But so I've got plenty
Who's
of
first he's shooting in August?
shooting in August.
Even though he said he was
He's
shooting
going to
next
go
week.
shooting in August. Anyway,
Yeah, that one would have worked too.
I'm going to shoot a match. I probably could make this work for all of the noises. I'm going to hit some targets. Right, anyway, sorry. Brass availability, important. Yeah, particularly if you're trying to keep it up. And
Well, what are the big 6mm that everyone's talking about?
the ones that so Creedmoor is one, BRA, BRX, BR.
like a super
SLR.
LR. Yeah.
Super LR has not really found a big home in the thing. But anyway, the BR cartridge has become popular. Dasher, XC.
PPC, or is that too hard to feed?
Not so. I mean, same. It's in the same category as the BR.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feeding.
they have-
Now we're
yeah.
talking about BRs. Feeding is probably a consideration to take into account. Making sure you've got the kit that will make a 6mm BR feed well, because they have a reputation, justified or not, for not feeding well. If you get something like a Dasher, you got to worry about forming brass.
Yeah, fire forming can be a pain. Also, brass life.
Brass life.
Because if you're having to spend a lot of time forming those cases and then you happen to lose 10 on a weekend and then, the primer pockets get destroyed on another couple.
Yep.
I mean, personally, when it comes to shoulder angle, I like 30 degrees or more.
Yep.
Because it seems to be the sweet spot for case life and case growth.
Bronte's getting a new shirt that says all angles.
Including those greater than 30 degrees.
30 or more.
Yeah, and the print will be done on a 30-degree angle.
Yeah.
That's not actually a terrible idea.
So,
And then like something on the back saying, "I'm not a strain gauge."
Forced restoration only.
so another one in that same vein is barrel life, maybe a consideration. I mean, like a barrel life is however long it is, and but at the end of the day, that costs money. And depending on your circumstances, you may have heaps of cash to throw at this. You may have not a lot of cash to throw at it. So it's
Some of it-
consideration.
Would you start looking at pressure,
Well, yeah.
or not as much as a critical thing?
I mean, I guess it really, when it comes to barrel life, a lot of that stuff,
With pressure.
there's all these factors kind of tie into each other because ultimately, you can't beat physics. And, your throat getting torched out, it really comes down to physics, basically. Obviously different shoulder angles are proposed to do, better and worse and whatever else, depends where the combustion occurs and neck lengths. But high pressure, high velocity, it's a harsh environment for a barrel to live in.
Yeah. So, Travi, I think those considerations, because performance, like a lot of this stuff, like can go either way. Your BRs are low on recall and low on weight, so you can fly with more rounds. That's one of the reasons they can be popular. But you've got to take into consideration, like if you look at the matches you're planning on shooting, are you going to be driving? Is that going to be consideration? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, knowing how much you shoot and matches you shoot, your barrel's going to last you a year, maybe a year, maybe not quite a year. So you got to, it's not, what are you planning to do in the next 12 months? Because, if you're planning to fly to 30 matches the year after, that's not a consideration. It's really, you know what your case like. But if someone else is considering this, you're going to shoot a match a year and a couple of club matches, that barrel's going to last you a couple of years. Yeah.
Also, reamer availability as well.
Sure.
Especially when you start to get some of these exotic cases. Couldn't imagine there is
about 4 reamers in the Gay Tiger in the country.
Yeah,
so you can relatively get them done fairly easily.
Yeah. You compare 4 reamers versus, I don't know, God only knows how many 243 reamers there would be in the world.
True.
Like it depends where you are.
Yep. Yeah, well and truly. So, there is no secret, Travi. These are things that we all face. I'm very fortunate if I didn't face it, I just thrust upon me. Although I was
Gay Tiger.
Yeah. I'm choosing my words carefully here. Anyway, so
come down to availability, case life.
Because your projectiles are going to be much the same one way or the other. There's no issue there, and I think pick it based on some of those other circumstances. If you're concerned about those circumstances, for some guys, this that build is a secondary build for them, and they don't care if they can't get brass until August. That's not their priority. It's not that they need to shoot this week, and they'll get it when they get it. Some guys will build a gun over a year, and when it all comes together, it comes together. Whereas some guys need to shoot a match in January, for example, and they probably have other considerations to take. So
Dyes as well.
Dyes as well, yeah. Dyes are seemingly easier to get a hold of these days.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, as a general rule, because like a GT, for example, which is one of the rarer cartridges now, they are getting good support, and you'll find that the cartridge that gets adopted by PRS shooters relatively quickly does get the support it needs pretty quickly. Like already the GT was announced in January. There's already 2, potentially 3 brass manufacturers for it. That's not super common to have it that quick. So,
but is it just because of the name? Because everyone kind of gets amused by it.
I hope so.
Is it actually that good, or is it just it's an amusing name? So
it is meant to be quite good. It is meant to be legitimately good. It sits between a Dasher and a 6x47. It's meant to sit in between there, but I guess we'll find out. I'm probably not the best person to be behind it to really find out what it can do, but there are a couple of guys who I just got contacted by a guy today who is a good shooter and has the potential to really push that to its limits. And he was asking me for brass. So anyway,
nice.
Good luck to him. Last question. This comes from the man himself. Oh, sorry, there was one other question. 2 other questions. There's 3 questions to go. These other 2 are going to be knocked off very quickly. Andrew Noble. The Andrew Noble. Please discuss the potential barrel twist rate required for the new Berger 109 grain 6mm bullets.
Fast.
I did reply back to Andrew and just said that we're going to have to get Greg on for that episode.
Oh my God.
He did provide some advice though that we can build off. Was that suggest just wait till Greg buys a barrel, and then just go one faster than that.
Sounds pretty reasonable.
Yeah. For those guys who are long-term listeners, you're welcome. For those guys who are new, sorry.
Go back and start again.
Yeah. Any teasers from Phil Nash? Any teasers for the 2020 PRS Australia season? Phil, I have got a teaser for you, mate. Rumour has it that Phil Nash is going to be shooting matches in 2020.
Sorry, I don't know who Phil Nash is, so I didn't really know what button to
Yeah,
press.
that's cool. I did do that button.
I wasn't sure if it was a as a joke or.
Phil shot some matches last year through to various circumstances, didn't shoot this year. He's a lefty, so that's probably most of the reason.
That would have been pretty appropriate then.
Okay, we'll go. All sorts of things.
One
All
or
sorts of
the
things.
other.
Yeah, anyway.
Wasn't a belt sander thing, was it?
He's now a lefty. He went on a Dutchy training course.
Hell no, he didn't pass the selection course. It's not a training course. You think it's a training course. You're a bottom runner.
Right, last question. We finally get through it. From One Shot Scott, the man himself. The man himself. If you ever get the chance to
Have
meet
you seen my other bowl? No.
Okay, this could lead on. He's a top fan. Look at that. Scott. One Shot Scott, top fan. Good stuff.
No, I'm top fan.
There can be... He's wearing the all aspect shirt. Good. Practical steps from how to read a wind device correctly to how to interpret that info into a ballistics app / Kestrel. And then after shooting, how to adjust that data if needed.
It's a wind device. Is that a flag?
Kestrel, whatever.
No, but
yeah, he does list it.
yeah, but he says a wind device and then into the
You guys ever heard of a cliffhanger?
with
I remember
Sylvester
it was a really
Stallone.
bad movie.
Yeah.
The other thing is like a cliffhanger where you bring up a topic or bring up a part in an episode and then wait till a future episode to discuss it.
Thanks for listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast. To continue the discussion, check out our Facebook page. And for more information, head to our website, www.precisionshootingpodcast.com.au. This episode was brought to you by Impact Dynamics.